on the cliff south of the city, and 2 players up north, getting closer somewhat to Hacienda del Patron. But the Mongolian squads here, Jackie, they're getting close to each other on the mountaintop. Is this going to result in a fight? It seems like the answer to that is going to be yes.
Okay, well, let's see how it goes. Shotty in close range combat. Ooh, you're thinking maybe you'd be able to deal some damage there, Atomic, but he could not blow them away on impact. Nice peek, even in close quarters, but Debo actually threads the needle. Mate, he's chicaned it off the windowsill and been able to get the knock from that. Even the follow-up chip as well. Oh, mate. They could actually really pin in Aurora here and ruin their life. Kino's even got the off angle for the adjustment on the wrap over, and the nades do not stop coming. They are just being obliterated here. They're going to blow the whole bloody building up.
Kino and Fearless don't even have to shoot a single bullet to get the squad wipe on Aurora, it seems. The thing is, with these smokes, it's going to make it a little bit harder to thread the needle with that utility. He's going to get 1 reset. Reefus, Doc looking good. Zyol brought back to life also with that reset, but that is going to be Reefus taking so much Molotov damage. They have to push eventually. Kino, Fearless, can they clutch it up against their Mongolian brethren? Once again, oh, the Molotov's going to spread again on wooden floor. That is going to be an issue. The nades are so good for all of Champions. Aurora just don't have a response right now, though. Nade in hand, you've got to be careful. Doc is going to punish that little bit of a push upstairs. Now it's a solo player. Doc, Zyol as a duo. Zyol going to get overwhelmed. Doc now sole survivor here in a 1v2 scenario. The nades, the bounce is good. We do shift on over to another fight. Looking at the elimination feed, Reefus does get flushed out by the S12K, and that's going to be Champions again to claim the fight as their own and eliminate Aurora out in last place.
Wait, that's actually ridiculous as well, right? Purely off the back of those nades, like ricocheting it off the windowsill into what was effectively the double knock and then the follow-up chip damage. Yeah, I mean, it gets a bit scary at the end, but difference is, you look at where things lie. Champions in first place with a nice lead of points, and now they take 4 elims, whereas for Aurora, that's another game they physically cannot now make points. They wanted to come into this lobby and make out like bandits on Miramar. Instead, they get 2 elim points, and that's it. Zilch else off the back of the fight from Champions there. So the Mongolian infighting kicking off on this one, that's brutal. This could deny a bit of a leapfrog maneuver from Aurora into that top 4.
The thing is, that fight just keeps happening between these two teams. I don't know if it's because they have similar rotation paths and they have something that was happening back in PMGO Mongolia where they just want to be somewhat near each other, but it just keeps happening every game, it feels like. Not sure why. Here we go over to a fight of the Star Soldiers Epic clashing with Ozrox. One of the players, I didn't see who it was, got a Groza, so they did loot up an airdrop, or maybe also a loot truck, which do spawn on Miramar. It's not an Erangel exclusive. It also does happen on the Dusty Dunes from time to time. So they're going to be, yeah, it's actually going to be Alicia with a Groza and a QBZ loadout. So pretty solid as the circle keeps on shifting, and it goes north. Every single time it feels like, Jackie. I'm actually looking at all these shifts. It was northern shift after northern shift after northern shift. So we're actually getting very close to Oasis next to Torre Ahumada and La Cobreria. As teams now, there's not going to be too many compounds remaining. Definitely not enough for 15 teams. So we might see a few squad wipes all over the place in this Miramar game. The team that is set up in a really successful position is going to be TT Project. That again, they've got one of the highest survival times in the entirety of this tournament, Jackie, and they're looking to pad those numbers even more here on this game.
Pad them if you got them. You might as well see just how much you can squeeze out of these lobbies right now. They're fresh for the picking. Ooh, SSE trying to get some distance. As Mad Esports do get eyes locked on. Quite a far fight to take, though. Beard not going to be able to follow through off the back of his establishing shots. Just at least getting a bit of pressure on and showing that they do mean business. They might want to chase for it. Hop in the vehicles, get the engines turning over, and try and close the gap towards Silence. You know that he stopped moving. The engine turned off, hopped out the vehicle, took a couple shots to keep him pinned in position. You can wrap up close. Investing a lot for that point. But if they could get a prime nade on target, it might actually be a bit of a freebie. It's going to force him out. He'll have to start moving a bit deeper upwards.
Yeah, they were able to separate Silence from the rest of his squad. Just look at the map feed on the minimap top right of the screen. He's just fully surrounded by players. They're going to send the cavalry forward. One of the players is attempting to rescue Silence with a car. Might be a buggy, a 2-seater. That's all you would really need in this situation. By the way, just to give a bit more insight to set the stage for our teams on the minimap, some teams went for some wide Eastern and Western rotates. Western rotate was vicious, and Eastern rotate was for the likes of Goat, so they're trying to really avoid all of these Southern skirmishes and scrambles, which is really good macro-wise. They're just trying to cross their T's and dot their I's. They've been very efficient, taking the just more passive approach to this Miramar match. I can't say the same for Mad. Again, got 3 early eliminations. And here, completely stuck. Their car wrecked to pieces. And here, their movement potential has been really significantly reduced. So I think the Mad might have a really bad time surviving this game.
Yeah, they thought they were the sharks chasing down the little fish, but they've ran into a bit of an uncomfortable position here. Made it far more awkward for SSE. Silence was basically bait, but the rest of the team is still alive and kicking. I mean, no one's a full casualty yet, so yes, they are surrounded, but do they find opportunities to stay alive on this one? Subvert expectations. Mad want to bail on their encounter. We join over on the crash towards Ozorox with TGM getting the opening connection off, and apparently some of the follow-ups from it as well. Blues down and out. It's only Leon 44 that remains alive. 3 elims to his name. And that's all he'll have, because Havlik from miles away. Okay, fair enough.
I want to see how many meters that was for that shot. That was impressive accuracy from Havlik. Really well done indeed. Over to now the fight of Star Soldiers Epic. Members just falling one by one, and even Alicia will eventually fall and meet his demise. That is going to be game over for them. Eliminated in 13th place for... Actually, no, that's going to be for KZ Esports. I believe, yeah, it's just going to be after for SSC. But yeah, that's a lot of squads getting eliminated. As I said, just not enough space for these teams to work with. Mad Esports, though, going to keep on engaging the fight. As actually, Alicia's still there, I believe. Well, okay, I got confused with the player colors, I believe. Okay, a little bit too close on the red. Maybe I'm colorblind, but it's going to be Alicia with a Groza. The airdrop weapon, jump shot, and it's just not going to be enough. Mad Esports surviving. Now it's going to be a duo. 6 eliminations, actually, to one of their members, HTSX. Able to actually put up the numbers on this game, but 777 might have a different plan in mind.
Well, let's see what's on the cards for them. When push comes to shove on this one. Will they take the fight down towards Mad? Will they potentially set their focus back around for a later wrap to get involved with things? Shots downrange here onto the loot truck. Meanwhile, as well, you got the drive-in coming up. That's going to be TGM that make their play. TT, that's Zerich instantly getting his eyes lighting up as he spots them on parade and gets the bullets back over. He's been quick with some of his reactions throughout the knockout stage, and that seems to continue here. They've got the vehicles close by for the rotate if they need to go for a bit of a distance coverage play on this one. Talk about distance. Effect is already miles ahead. He's actually right up in enemy territory, looking to take that forward scout position and potentially unload down towards TGM early.
Just trying to get an off angle because he has an idea that the fight between 777 and Mad Esports is going to unfold at some point in time this game. So he's just trying to set up a opportunity for them maybe to third party that fight if they could have a clean shot for it. Just, again, the thing about TT Project, they get the setup, but they're not going to overcommit. They're not going to take an unnecessary risk. If they can just get the angle and wait there, that's exactly what they're going to do. A very respectful team in this lobby, which you love to see at this kind of level of play. Even got a little bit of a 2-1-1 split effect on Zerich, just keeping things in check and also serving as an anchor point for the 2 other squad mates to make that transition into the play zone. So everything is looking set up beautifully like a well-oiled machine. As Amix, though, I'm still, I know I keep repeating myself here, Jackie, about this team, but I want to see more. Currently standing in 17th place. Never in my wildest dreams would I imagine Amix to be so low on the rankings after so many games played for some of these squads. This is their time to redeem themselves. They're making it really fun this game, making it to phase 5. They got 4 members. Come on, Amix. We need to see some presence on this game.
No, it's bizarre, right? It is very weird. It feels like an absolute fall-off compared to what we had seen prior for them. So hopefully there is some energy left in the tank, and it's just taken them some time to show it. Can't be having a poor affair overall. They're a team that's full of power. But you are right in the thick of it in terms of the close grouping there. Kino trapped in the ditch ahead. Ooh, default with the adjustment, and Kvik is able to follow through with the org to shut them down. So champions thinned out finally. Wave goodbye there. The 4 points they take home with them are off the back of their complete wipe onto Aurora way back towards the start of this game. Spike with eyes in the distance onto TGM as well, so looking for elims where possible. 77 do finally commit to their engagement on towards Mad, with Warrior winning out on that scrap initially. Neos now seeing that opportunity onto the weakened TGM to even snatch away another point there. So everyone is just vying for opportunities in what is quickly becoming a bit of a brawl.
It's going to get a bit dicey here. Got to make sure he can clean up shop. HTSX just not moving an inch. Really doesn't want to give any audio cues. He's still remaining in this room, in this particular building. 777 just want to eliminate that player. They want to find him. Oh, got to be careful there, actually. The car, two-seater, is going to be on fire, so just a little spray here and there. That might just be the end for this vehicle. Which is going to be a very important resource at this moment of a game, because they're still on 9 circle. They're going to have to make a push forward. You still have a few dips and ridges to work with, but you might want to try and make a quicker rotation, and these cars are going to be very important, and I don't think they looted up any repair kits, so that's going to make it just a little bit harder to really execute your full potential in this game. 777, though, will be making in the zone next to players of TGM, and the car will indeed explode. Unusable now for the rest of this match. Even that buggy smoking. Oh, they're really having a bad time.
Rotate options going out the pan, mate. Got to do it by foot. No vehicles to save your bacon. Zerich dashing the Molotov forward. Using the limited opportunity to cover right now as you tuck in for a second with nades landing on your face. Neos eats that one. As Havlik still got a couple more in the back pocket as well. Knows that was on target. Goes for the follow-up just off center. Cheeky plays, but will he actually be able to hit heavy and convert points off the back of this? Havlik eventually gets one off into the back line, so Fizz falls and is instantly removed. Good point conversion off the flush, and he knows that he just has to get away. Backs off from it, so smart stuff so far. That's 5 elims now for Amix. Is this one of these classic games where they start to show up and start to take names with them?
It seems like they're going to try and actually solidify the position of Havlik. They send Default and Spike forward, so they really want to try and clean up this area, try and control the entirety of the southern edge of this Miramar match. This is a good fight. I love this 3-1 split unfolding in front of us from Amix. Good pieces of utility, though. We're looking also a decent response from 777. They're just delaying the fight, waiting for a squad to be eliminated fully, and then they're going to be committing to the engage themselves. That is going to be game over for another member. Down to now just Niels. He's in the blue. He's taking so much damage. There's just no hope of survival, and that is going to be the end of the line. TT Project meeting an early end of this game. And now 6 teams remain, meaning we're going to get so many more placement points on board for whoever's able to make it even deeper on this Miramar match. But Amix still have utility. How do they still have grenades? They've been raining it down for the longest time of TT Project, and they still have some to go onto 777. Oh my goodness, that's just a mini red zone just unfolding every time down south.
Yeah, non-stop explosions. And non-stop artillery with the rounds that are being fired out from everyone into this matchup. It's been quite an aggressive back and forth for the past couple minutes here. Havlik still set up on his hill. This is his domain, the landlord of the area. And right now, 777 are just renting their time in the battleground. Eventually, he's going to want to collect on this with the rest of the team and see if they can actually punish. Quick check over the ridge side, see if you can get any more info from it. Meanwhile, a similar play from Spike as he's on the move, closing the gap down, rolls it somewhat and dives out. Rest of the squad's there to support. They're looking towards the compound and do get a bit of a read in terms of the position that's set up for Ark, but they're going to have to fight against 777 eventually on this one. Smoke goes up for space, spot out onto motion. They know about Duchu now, it seems.
Yeah, they're going to try and spot that solo and get rid of him. By the way, just to set the stage again, macro-wise in this game, we still have Goat, we still have Arcred, we still have Vicious. The 3 most dominating teams today have still been able to make it so deep in this match. So many more points. We might start to see actually a big sponge situation happening in the leaderboards where they're just able to suck up all of those points. The Hoover of ECA is real. Who will it be, though? Will it be Goat, Arcred, or Vicious? We'll have to wait and see how things unfold later on down the line. Storin and Koa trying to chuck a bit of utility, but Amix still have util. I don't know where they get all that util from. They weren't even able to loot the crates of TT Project. So they're just, I guess their looting stage went really well early on this match. But Vicious, they don't have circle priority anymore. They have to start to bleed over the ridgeline, and look at that angle of Havlik. It's looking so deadly. And Doran will get picked off. Even Goat are going to be joining the fray on that fight from a distance. So things are looking terrible for Vicious as one of the members is taken out. And it might just be the entire team in very, very soon, depending on how things happen here over to the west.
All quiet for now, at least. A brief moment of respite. But Vicious and Amix want to turn the volume up. The nades coming in, but it's actually the firepower of Default that lays the first blow. Koa with the trade back. Good knock onto them. Kvik making moves. 2 connections there as Narvalo will buckle. Doran on the ridge side peeks in, but it's actually the shots coming up quick. And that one will land onto him. Wave goodbye to the Vicious as they do crumble in their head-to-head. And with the limited play left, Amix have to quickly save their man and restock themselves. They do get spiked back up, so 2 players alive for that team. Third party galore as everyone's eyes were lighting up on the opportunity. Default. Oh, back in the fight. Instant repeat on it. Hang on. Inside of the smoke. Ayato somehow wins out on it, and they are panicking on this one. Default will sprint towards him. Looks for the clear, but he's not quick enough with it, and both of them go down to Ayato. So go again, setting themselves up for maybe a chicken dinner here.
Goat and Arcred are just playing a farming simulator game. This is not PUBG Mobile Esport. They got so many opportunities from a distance to get those elims, and actually really good push-up on that 2-2 split of Goat team to make sure they can eliminate that Western threat later on in this game. So really, really strong setup for what could be a very strong chicken dinner again from Goat. We could be looking at a back-to-back win off the back of that Everest finish on Erangel. Now could be looking at an open finish next to Torre Almada here on Miramar. Though 777, not sure how they were able to survive the incoming nades of Amix earlier this game, but they did it. They survived. The Western Mountain not in play anymore. Actually, Goat, this is a bit of a risky play being up there. As you push downhill, it's really hard to smoke that area as you try and make that descent down in the valley. You're just waiting for Arcred to take those shots. So my question is, Arcred, do they have the ammo count to take those eliminations? Not sure, as 777 going to deny those points out to the blue. Not a terrible play. As 6 does find a little bit of a shed to hide into, maybe snatch away a second place. But here, this push is going to be so hard to execute, Jackie. Will Arcred be able to defend successfully, or will we have a strong push of Goat to try and subvert expectations and claim this chicken dinner?
We'll find out, man, but it feels like Goat have been ramping up. They've been getting better and better. And this is more like the squad that we expected to see, the known quantity, actually rearing its head into these lobbies now. And if they can find a way to win out on this encounter versus Arcred, then hey, it should be easy pickings to get themselves a back-to-back chicken dinner potentially, which would be a hell of a run for them. Get a whole load of points thrown into the knapsack and make out like bandits. For 777 though, is there somehow an opportunity for 6 to just lurk it out? You wouldn't imagine it. Feels like that second place will be destined. He is trapped in position.
Oh no!
Oh mate, imagine! Just a small segment, that's all he needed, Max, but there's no air. There's nothing to do. He goes down to the blue as he will be finished off inside of the shed. And it is, of course, our 2 teams left to go head-to-head then. Goat versus Arcred. 4 members alive on either side. It all comes down to this.
There's actually a few decent options here north of the compound that if you want to see Goat team try and flex out and get multiple off angles, it could work out significantly for themselves in their favor. But I've been seeing since earlier Glory, he's got a P90. That could be a deadly weapon to go up against. But things are slowing down. Thing is, at least for Goat Team, one big positive, right? They still have vehicles to rotate with, and they also picked up a lot of death crates, meaning all of the death crates from Amix, from Vicious up on the mountaintop, they were able to get for themselves. So they got a lot of utility, grenades, etc. So they're looking really stacked in terms of loot. And they will be making it forward. Actually sending a few players really close. Actually in the compound, it seems. It's going to be a full-on breach. It's Goat Team looking for the push. But unfortunately, in a very nadeable position. Things are just not working out whatsoever And now Goat Team down to a solo. It's going to be Moxie. I think that was a way over-aggressive attempt here, Jackie, and things just not working out as Arcred now looking to leverage that man advantage in a 3v1 situation.
Yeah, play with the numbers, play with the firepower. It all went south so quickly for Goat. And that's how it ends. Arc Red picking up the pieces there. Chances for the back-to-back. Their fingertips were touching it, but it was not enough to grab hold of the W on that one. So Arc Red rear their head again. That's their second chicken dinner of the day overall. They might not be connected, but it's still another gigantic leap of points for this team. Showing up playing a blinder here in Knockout.
I got a little bit confused at the end of that game from Goat Team. I get the idea of you want to try and breach the compound because you didn't have too many strong positions outside of the compound, so you just want to maybe try and actually just take the fight head on. But standing on that wall in particular, you're just asking Jackie to get naded or mollied just to oblivion, which is exactly what unfolded in the finishing minutes of that game. So very confused as to why. I think even if you do want to commit to the push in the compound, you can send it actually to the east wall. Which actually, if you do that, you kind of actually get yourself decent entry point into the compound. But no, they send it all in just one very narrow area, which is just not going to work out for them. It could have been a back-to-back win, but no, Arcred will be our team to claim their second chicken dinner actually of today, right? Able to pull it off earlier on Rondo and now here on Miramar. So that's going to be a ton of points secured by not just them, but these two teams here at the end of this Miramar. So very, very consistent stuff indeed from these two squads.
No, beautiful signs, very good for really, realistically, both teams. Even with that blip aside and potentially a bit of a fumble there for them on the side of Goat, mate, you're still going to be content with the fact they're actually being able to get these sort of games where there are first and second places up for grabs between both of these squads. It's been a big set of things from them. And that's going to be our highlighted team stats, of course, for Arc Red, the winning team on that one. Hardboy with 4 elims to his name. Good damage distribution across the board. Star as well, playing a bit of blinder at times, finding his chance to get some corking shots off. 566 damage there.
This is a prime example as to why I want cover flares on other battlegrounds outside of Rondo. This would have been way closer if Goat Team even had just 1 or 2 cover flares to work with at the end, but in this map, we just don't have that extra piece of utility. 4 airdrops actually looted up, so we did have a few airdrop weapons. Of course, we saw the Groza in the hands of Alicio. We did have actually one of the members of Arcred playing with a P90, which is really strong, but it was not down to any of those weapons to win the game. It was mainly down to that utility, to those grenades that were just so impactful. And actually, for how many grenades we saw, Jackie, coming through this game, only 4 grenade eliminations seems quite low, actually. I thought we'd see way more, possibly close to the double-digit mark, but no, it was just not meant to be this game, it seems. But still a strong performance. Goat Team Arcred, at this point, just going to be create such a massive lead in the leaderboards that I'm really excited to see where they stand now in these rankings because they've been having an absolute banger day 2 performance in this knockout stage.
Yeah, no, they really have. It's beautiful to watch, actually, this sort of firepower that's coming out from them. Some of the games we had in recalibration, then also into day 1, there were limited opportunities where it felt like they were on the precipice of greatness, but never quite giving us their full firepower. Today, very different story. Arc Red are fired up, and the reactor is red hot, mate. It's good to see. Hardboy hitting some crisp shots as well. Actually, good headshot percentage from him there, to being able to show us that he's got that crisp level of lethality coming out in these games of PUBG Mobile. Let's have a look at our overall top players as well for that game. Any standouts here, Max, outside of the known quantities?
I mean, HGSX, right? He's just up there. 6 eliminations for Mad Esports. Good to see a player step up and get actually somewhat presence in this game because they just are so adamant, it seems, on taking these early skirmishes. But yeah, I would just like to see them just make it to the late game as a full squad, which I believe we've almost never seen this entire tournament. So will be a good shift of gears for the squad of Mad. Default up there for Amix. Actually, yeah, this is the best game of Amix the entire tournament, right, Jackie? We were talking about how you wanted to see just this team kind of develop a bit further in the late game scenarios to actually get more placement points and eliminations. This is exactly that, and hopefully this is going to be the start of a really big improvement storyline for this team that has started up very slow. Is starting to speed things up and hopefully get some more exponential points as the days go on. Looking at the match rankings though, still 20 points on board for Arcred, 12 for Go, and then it plateaus off at 11, 9.8 points. This goes to show to me that I think the second page is going to be very low on the point side here, Jackie, because a lot of teams took early fights that just did not work out whatsoever.
No,
Ooh,
that's
it's
very
bad.
true. One of those sides as well, man, being Aurora, right, that obviously just got completely overthrown by champions early. It just, sent them on a bit of a downward spiral. Afterlife, nil points, KZ, nothing to work with. 27 as well. It's really been a bit of a unship shape game for them over the past couple. Brutal stuff. Let's see what that does to our overall rankings. And look at that. Make difference of 1 point there, Max, between Champions and Arc Red taking the #1 spot in our rankings today. They're even one chicken dinner up as well. So if that did go down to a tiebreaker, they would have cleared them. That's crazy.
The thing is, all of the teams currently in the top 6 have been insanely consistent, right? Champions, Arc Red, DG77, TT Project, a Vicious, GOAT team now too. That had an insane banger day 2 in Knockout. It's going to be really tough to predict who's going to be able to actually remain in the top 4 to make it directly into the grand finals. And then you do have a little bit of a gap being created between 6th and 7th place. 8-point difference between GOAT and Aurora that keep on slipping. And actually, talking about Aurora real quick, I know we talked about them a lot because they're not having a great day. Actually, they're not having a great knockout stage. It feels to me like they're not trying. They're just like, oh, we can fight. We'll just send it. This is Aurora, I would say, just not trying, which I'm a bit disappointed by. I want to see them try, but this is just them just like, we'll just go for it because why the hell not? What do you think? Do you agree or not?
Man, I don't know. It's weird where I don't know if it's not trying as much as it's like kind of not having the same level of respect that maybe they need. I suppose that'd be the element, right? Because it just feels like they're throwing themselves at like carnage. They're just going into basically situations where it's like you don't necessarily need to fight it. It's not going to give them that much to work with. Not even for position or anything like that. They just kind of walk in as a team. It's not even one man. It's not even Doc like out on an island. Just the team going, yeah, we'll just fight, I guess. I don't know. Maybe they're tunnel visioning. Maybe they're just thinking, all right, we'll just coast through. Maybe we don't get a top 4 at this point. Weird, Max.
The thing is, it's as per tradition with this team. You start to criticize them slightly, say like, this is not looking too good. I feel like they're messing up, and then they're just going to have the best game ever. It might happen next game. We'll have to see, but it's typical Aurora stuff here.
Yeah, we'll find out, won't we? But we'll be back in a couple minutes' time, guys. Join us for some more action following the break.
Start the wall!
Hang on, kept you guessing. Don't worry. Just a little bit of magic there. No worries, everyone at home. We're back. It's myself and Max, of course, with some more action about to go down. Very brief intermission there between games, as we like to bring you the action thick and fast here, Max. And that's what we've been getting out of some of these teams. Some good results from some of the squads that were further down the rankings, making a massive climb. And the shift for the race to top 4 has drastically changed today.
Yeah, I mean, you've got so many favorites now. The top of the rankings that we're looking at has heavy contenders for those 4 slots to make it straight into the grand finals. As you said, also comebacks like Amix, for example. 777 also getting decent points on board. Also placement points, which is really nice to see from them on Miramar. But we are starting to get to the point of this tournament where I'm going to start counting teams out completely. So I'm not going to be looking at them too much at the bottom of the rankings. But here we go. It's Rondo back once again. Are we going to have the double planes here this time? It's been quite rare. We haven't had it actually at all so far this PMGO tournament on Rondo. Will it be the case this time around? And it is going to be the double plane. One northern one from Kungxia over to Lunpo down southwest. And then it's going to be from Longho over to the northern end of Jadina City for the southern plane. Meaning we could have a little bit of a situation where we do have some drop locations being spread heavily throughout the entirety of this battleground. But Neox and especially Yulin should be available for all of these teams to fight for. So Yulin might get a little bit more busy in the next few seconds to come.
It very well could be. A lot of traffic. This is what we were waiting for. We get our double planes. We get things looking potentially a bit spicy. So let's find out just how many intense bouts between the battleground we're going to be getting out of this. Looking forward to seeing how this one goes down.
We'll see how things are going to be wrapping up for some of these squads. Looking at the drop, yeah, Yulin is going to have a few teams dropping up. Actually, wait, they're dropping north of Yulin, but they're not really committing. I thought they were just going to stretch with a parachute and make it up there, but no. It seems like right now it's going to be at least a late rotation somewhat. Test track, two teams are going to head there. It's going to be Ozrox and also TGM. The one early clash will be unfolding. Is going to be TT Project fighting a split-up Aurora. Actually, also TT Project are relatively split themselves. It's a 2-2. As they will be having Zerich here, looking to push his way forward with the JS9. But also on the opposing side, Doc's got a JS9 of his own. The thing is, you know, the Doc in a solo situation, that's when he might just prevail. Good pre-fire, and actually to find Zerich. Can we see the game start off with a 1v2 from Doc? Having to reload the UMP. FP is in a bit of a tricky spot. Good jump shot attempt, but it's just not going to connect. And that's it. Going to get the reset on his teammate, and that's going to be Doc. Unfortunately, no teammates nearby here, so that res will not come through.
No, he is a knocked man crawling. And Ephes will be the Grim Reaper on that one, finally finishes him. It was almost the classic Doc peak. He kind of tried to thread the needles, doing like trigonometry, bit of mathematics in his head to try and thread the bullet round the corner through the window, but could not be done, unfortunately. Thankfully, of course, thus is the way of Rondo. Doc will go, and Doc will return. He's back into the action early on, so nothing to worry about there. Kavik's been banged out by one of the guard NPCs. That's quite funny.
Oh, that's, well... Yeah, not surprised. Ring Jiang. The thing is, they're actually really strong. I've got knocked by them a couple of times. I would like to not have to admit that, but they are actually quite stacked. If you're not careful, they might just obliterate the entire team. I've seen squad wipes in esports actually, not in this like caliber of tournaments, but I have seen it happen in like, you know, maybe B tier, C tier events where a team is just not very careful, and it's an agent squad wipe, which is rare, but
yeah.
It does happen, but the loot over there is really good, and it's actually kind of worth it sometimes to set up shop over there. You just got to really push as a full team. If you don't go solo, you'll be fine. If you do go one by one, well, already why are you going one by one in this caliber of a tournament? I don't know, but especially against agents, you're really messing up at that point.
Yeah. I don't know. It just kind of feels. It feels weird because of obviously how Amex have had a bit of a rough one as well, where it's just like, oh, is the mental game just starting to get to him a little bit? That's kind of what I was thinking, but maybe, who knows, Max? Sometimes those guards do have gigantic biceps. Anyway, champions here getting some shots down range from the side of Aurora. Ooh, they want revenge. But it is a bit of a trade demo on the drive-by. Oh, boy.
But look again, it's champions versus Aurora. Why does it keep happening every game? This drama happening. I don't know what's happening. No, someone talked smack on an Instagram story or something. I don't know what's going on, but there's some real drama between these two teams. They keep chasing each other. I feel like champions every time they just get a knock on the member. And they're like, oh, that's Aurora. They full commit and send it. It's just, yeah, they smell of blood in the water. As Ozrox over to their own fight here, actually up north of the river on Rondo. Able to start off the game with 3 elims, so that's very good again for a team that I was expecting more from, especially with an experienced player like Melaz. They had a slow start, and they also have Bad Boy, which is a very strong player on their team. But they just maybe need a little bit more time to really get in the swing of things in this tournament, and it's not game over, even if they do not have an opportunity to make it top 4. Survival stage, you have so many more slots available to make it to the finals, Jackie, so I'm not going to be too scared. Teams that maybe are still learning at this point, it's not game over just yet. You have ample opportunities to improve your gameplay and come back even stronger on the final stage of this group stage.
Yeah, it's not over. It's just mildly over for some teams, which you can always recover from. That is the beauty of the format here, obviously being a little bit longer and giving you that sort of second chance safety net. It's also the reward that you earn for yourself, man. Come in top 4, you get that break, you get that opportunity to observe, and then you come in fresh. For some teams, that can be a bit of a double-edged sword. Yeah. Some teams really benefit from having the downtime, right? Some squads, you come back in, suddenly you're a little bit off kilter again, have to warm back up. So it's always an interesting dynamic. But if you're given the choice, having the guaranteed like jump straight through, you'll always take that.
I mean, actually, I do want to do a quick highlight of the format. I really enjoyed this format. Actually, we're real quick going to focus on the fight happening inside of Neok's factory. It's going to be down to now just this one player of TGM picked off. That's going to be an easy elimination secured by Ked of Motion, the Polish team. But yeah, the format of this tournament's really fun because if you're a team that starts hot, you're getting rewarded early on by already qualifying for the finals. And if you're a team that needs a little bit more time to get your gameplay in full swing, that's then where you can really shine in the survival stage. So I think it's just a format that really favors so many different playstyles and how you approach a tournament in this event. So no, I think the format is really good to see so many different teams and how they execute their strategy kind of bloom fully in these tournaments until you reach the finals. So yeah, whoever did the format for this tournament and also the PMGCs, I'm really enjoying it for the last few years now. So keep it up. There you go. I'm just glazing the format. I really like it. It's really good.
No, you pop off. You pop off, mate. You enjoy your format. It is a good format. As formats go, it's probably one of the best ones, honestly. It gives us some of the better competition. I think we get some great storylines out of it. So, yeah, I'm right there with you, buddy. I would not complain.
Yeah. You know what I'm going to complain about, though? It's always a river split on Rondo. I don't know what's happening. These circles... Rondo, compared to... Well, especially Sanok back in the day, but especially when you're looking at Erangel and you're looking at Miramar. Miramar's got a little bit of water down southwest and even just straight up south of the map. But you have such little amount of water on Rondo, and now today this is going to be 2 games where we have almost a 50-50 river split on like phase 1. Maybe will be the case in phase 2. Yeah, the Circle's just been loving these water endings that have been really tough for teams to play around. Arcred loved it earlier apparently, but yeah, you don't see it often. But teams here are just being forced to really adapt to these circles. And by the way, as we see where the circle has shifted, you see that river in the distance? This is the worst river in the entirety of the game. It's got no cover. It's just a straight road, no elevation whatsoever. You go there and the team spots you, you're done. You're dead. Don't even try and cross it. So it's going to be very careful to see if teams will attempt to make the cross later on in this match. As SSC will be looking to clash with good old Goat. Had a good start today, getting himself that chicken dinner on Erangel. Here looking to take up an early engagement, and most of the members are here, so it might be tough to actually go for the recall if you do lose all of your members at this point.
Yeah, it's dicey out there right now, so be careful. Yeah, it's on target. Force blowing away SSE. Oh god, I thought that one was actually going to bounce back on a focus. Does actually tag him a little bit. All right, calm down, guys. Goat team certainly got the blood pumping. Ooh, straight through the smoke. Pop that one. See you later, Luis. Instantly blown away. And Lucio just gets ruined by Force.
I can already predict a few of the comments of people like responding to that knock. Like, he was in a very predictable position just behind the wall. You're going to pre-fire that just to make sure. So that was actually a really good predict play and move from Force. Oh, there we go. Water taken out of the equation. I like to see it. Cool. No bridge finish in play. That would have been absolutely hectic to witness. Though teams next to Jadina are going to have to think about what their move is going to be. 27 plus, Aurora, SSC, and also SSC actually did get the full reset then, thanks to the Jadina City recall tower. And same for Goat team as Moxie. Actually, I think Moxie just left the team to try and actually get access to a recall tower in case the team does get squad wiped by SSC. So just kind of insurance at that moment. But they won it, so now he has to start to think about how he's going to regroup with his teammates, with his comrades. Because that is going to be quite a large rotate. A lot of teams are in Jadina. Moxie doesn't want to go there as a solo. That is going to be just way too big a risk to take.
Yeah, risk averse, probably more the way you want to lean right now, as we're coming up towards the end of the day, realistically as well. So opportunities for points for some of these teams in particular getting very, very few and far between. The Nade reign of terror from both Afterlife and Goat team seems to be continuing across the battleground as they are hitting pretty consistently with these bad boys. Do look to close the gap and follow up from this as well. Misha cooking another one. See if any of these will be on target. Ked's very low. Windy might want to take that fight. Seems like he will peek into it. Yeah, there we go. That's classic Windy flavor.
Yeah, he's putting up so many good numbers for Afterlife. He's been having an absolute field day in this tournament as of right now. Again, rookie of the tournament. Definitely a title they could be looking to claim for himself. But now he's got some of his squad, which usually you don't see often. Windy, when he pops off, he's got a few of his squad mates already eliminated, sent to an early grave. But no, this time is not going to be the case. It's actually KZ now going to be able to get himself up to 3 elims, 4 feelings. So he's having an absolute banger performance so far this game on Rondo. Can he increase those numbers even more against Afterlife as they are starting to retreat fully, looking to leave this ridgeline? They want to be a bit cautious, though. Those nades are just looking so accurate from KZ. You don't want to really disrespect them too much. So moving back into cover, into the buildings. And KZ just somewhat letting it happen, really. It's just not worth chasing it down. You might put yourself at risk, and you're also going to see where the circle is going to head now in 2 seconds. Circle shift, and it is going to be heading slightly up northeast of this zone. Around to TT Project, Ozrox, and the likes of Vicious. So this is going to be looking like, a kind circle. Most of the teams are already going to be in zone. So outside of 777 and TGM, everyone should be looking relatively comfortable for this match.
Stay calm, cool, and collected. I do wonder if, for the Vicious as well, what more they'll get out of today, considering how nice it's been for them. Obviously, right here, it's looking very rough around the edges. That head-to-head versus Mad that's resulting in a good majority of the squad going down to their last legs. Could be a brutal sign of life for them if they're not able to really convert too much onto this Rondo matchup. This is the POV here with Koa in the building, playing close on the ledge side. Ooh, tried to tuck in for the turn, but no. And no one else in position to bring them back into action as well. That is the complete collapse on it. So it's a 0-point game going out first there. Oof.
Yeah, really good collapse, as you say here, from HTSX and Bio. Just really, the timing was on point. Even if one of the players does get knocked, I feel like they're just able to use the numbers to its full potential to overwhelm and get that 1 ilim for themselves. So yeah, really good execution. That really goes to show the comms are on point in that team. Over to the rest of these squads. A few teams going to go for the wide rotate. One of those teams actually going to be champions, widely rotating around the western edge of zone. Getting very close to Afterlife and KZ Esports. We've got to be a little bit careful. Might want to keep stretching it, as we do see also here 777 going for full reset. Getting that 1 knocked player back on the battlefield. We'll see if he can claim a chicken dinner off the back of it. They do have a 2-2 split right now, by the way. They're in Danqing, also known as Parkour City. They could actually get a decent foothold in the zone. Outside of this Aurora, keep in mind, looking at the leaderboards here, they don't have a single extra recall available. So whatever fight they get involved here, Jackie next, whoever's flushed out of the game, they are out for good here on Rondo.
Yeah, if you go down, that's your storyline ending abruptly. Oh, and it's not looking good there for Afterlife either. Already down to 2 players. Ozorox, just Leon 44 for the second time today. It feels like he's been trapped in a solo position where he's just waiting to meet his maker. An effect very well might be that man. The nades coming out onto his angle. Probably just a matter of time on this one. Threading the nades through, trying to get that right on target for the little window there.
And they only have 1 recall, so even if he does get out of that fight, which I don't think he is, he should be remaining as a solo. Maybe a duo if one of his fallen teammates is the one that has the recall available. But the recall towers, they're going to deactivate very soon, so even then the clock is ticking very swiftly in this match. Ozorox also, yeah, in 12th position. Top 4's looking slightly out of reach. Not the case, though, for our top squads. TT Project, Arcred, Champions. I mean, Jackie all alive and still have a lot of recalls available. So if they want to take a risk now and go for the reset quickly, you still got, what is that, 30 seconds to work with? You can afford it. It's going to be quite tough as SSC, again, getting eliminated early on, just like on Miramar, just not quite able to get the points they're really looking for, and will remain in the middle pack of the leaderboards, quite a distance away from the top 4.
Oh, defaults. Getting a couple bullets out with the heavy guns. And punishing. This is obviously an Eric side that Still looking like there's always something more to be desired, uncharacteristic of their form overall on the run of things today. This 2-2 split from Aurora as well. Is it going to be cleaner on this one? Already had the 4 elims in the back pocket, but how far do they go on the game? Spike gets punished there by 777. We do get the POV of Amex. Let's see how this fight goes down. Havlik with a spray. Good for one to open things up. Spike should be recoverable as well. They're going to try and play medic on that. Havlik can dedicate his time to it. Closing the gap, though. You're pushing up very close here. Utility in their hands. Close nade round the corner. Won't land where they wanted it to try and punish. And if they could actually bounce a nade out, mate, get a bit of a reverb onto that, you could absolutely blow away all of Amex here. They're in such a close quarters position. It's a bit of a choke point. So this is quite an intense fight. It could go south very quickly. They do opt to go straight in, and default unloads.
Oh, the MG3, beautiful weapon here to use, and CQC just spray and pray. And you know what? That's going to be enough, apparently, to get rid of the entirety of 777. What a fight. What an engage. And Amix looking so good on paper this match. Though, can we say the same about Aurora Gaming as they look to encroach on the terrain of Mad Esports? So far, decent opening, not losing a single member to close the gap. And Mad here, not going to be looking too healthy, right? Losing half of their squad. Down to a duo. The nades are inbound, doing some decent work, kind of also denying a few rooms away from Mad. You got to be careful. These nades are doing so much work through those windows. Ziol also trying to get his own. Actually, that might get the knock onto Absolute. He's not healing up right now. He's going to start to heal up now. I think it might be a little bit too late. Ziol, beautiful nade right on the balcony. And now it's a solo 1v4 against Aurora. It's going to be tough. Depending on the weapon he has also. No third parties. No one's going to be looking to ruin this engagement for Aurora, so they can just fully commit. Send on to the solo. Don't do it one by one, though, of course. As Aurora, they do spot one, but Reefer's going to get shut on down. Bio able to find himself a double. It got a bit risky. But the man advantage will prevail, and Aurora will be back in this game looking healthy as a 4-man team.
Yeah, reset, recalibrate, and see just how far they can go with it then. From those 4 elims up to 6, it's a damn sight better than the previous games were going for them. So they're going to count their blessings with what they've been given. So much room for a bit of an explosive clash, though. You can see Champions, Afterlife, KZ, all breathing down each other's necks here. Ooh. So as soon as someone sort of pulls the first pin, they're all going to be scrapping amongst each other.
Yeah, turmoil is brewing here in this fight. Thing is, the recall tower is useless now. It's been deactivated going into phase 5. So even if you do get eliminated, guess what? That is going to be game over for your squad mates. I would even love to see a team like maybe Champions, maybe KZ, that is not over surrounded by teams to just try and get a swift exit from the vicinity. It's not worth it at this point. You can leapfrog across the road. I think that will be a better option. Same for Amix. They're still in Parkour City. Hopefully they can try and leave that spot entirely, but Afterlife are just trying to survive, putting smokes down, just like, please forget we exist. As Demo, not a terrible cover flare, actually. They're going to actually try and create cover away from teams that are currently in the zone, such as, for example, TT Project or Motion. Trying to keep their back clear. And their nose is clean. As that's going to be Demo. How does he get knocked here by Zixi through the smoke? What a spray with the AUG. But unfortunately, it's still just not going to be enough, it seems. That's going to be Afterlife completely demolished, crossed off the map, and out in 10th place.
Yeah, goodbye Afterlife. A squad with a lot of talent, but not enough right here, right now, in the thick of things when bullets are being thrown all around. Goat, though, will respond in kind, eliminating 27 plus. And Amex's reign of terror with the heavy weaponry does continue as the bullets are landing, but they're being fought back. You give as good as you get, and Aurora and TT work together to shut them down. So goodbye Amex once again. It's actually the nade play from Zerich that did a whole bunch of damage, and KZ are really throwing caution to the wind. They want to get stuck into this encounter versus Champions. You're being ushered forward by the zone as a player down from either side. You're on your last legs here realistically. Nades hitting, a calamity's occurring. They are panicking into this battle.
Even one player of KZ tried to pick up his teammate on the front, on the bonnet of his car, just like, come with me, we can't stay here any longer. And they're going to swiftly exit this area, this zone. As a not a bad fight to lead, actually. It's just going to be a waste of time. The blue zone's going to be taken up the entirety of the area, and the tick damage is going to be significant in phase 5, especially as we transition into circle number 6. So you don't want to stick around for too long. So good exit, good strat from KZ. Whoever did the IGLing call there, you have my respects. Though Champions looking to pick up one of their teammates in the buggy. They do it successfully. KZ, can they find the damage? Can they get a knock? They do get a bit of damage at that range, but it's just not going to convert into a knock. No eliminations, nothing secured. But though we haven't talked about one team this entire game, Jackie, and it is going to be TT Project. They're in the middle of this circle on top of a slight mountain. They got complete oversight on everything unfolding in this circle. But the thing is, they don't have access to death crates, meaning their loot might be getting very scarce at this point of the match.
Yeah, could leave themselves high and dry on resources that might come back to haunt them late game. Although, again, man, we've seen them do a lot with a little quite a few times. They are one of these sides that can be very sort of, you know, self-sufficient, even with only one clip, one nade. They still know how to make it count. So let's see if playing the numbers is still going to work from them in a game like this. Motion going to be tested, and they answer that call with a good result. Duchu and Ked, that duo that's been very lethal, once again playing it to perfection on the crash up from a solo man there from Champions. They can afford to take liberties, though. That's the difference maker. That's one of the sides in this lobby that feel pretty confident, heads above water, so they can run risks and go for some of these more aggressive maneuvers.
Yeah, we'll see if that's going to be their game plan, their approach this game. Everyone looking to now just make their way into the circle. So far, Aurora's been able to do it successfully, sending 2 players in. It's going to be Reefus and Ziol, the proactive scouts and anchor points of the team, as Motion also looking to make their own dash forward. Thing is, will TT Project let that one happen? Will Aurora let it happen? Apparently not. They want to take those shots out of range, and that's going to be some decent damage connecting. That's going to be one knock on Titavisa, followed by Duchu. Only half the team will successfully make it to the zone. And even then, they just make it to the bottom of the mountain of TT Project. That hilltop is going to be very nadeable. But the main question I asked earlier, do they have the bullets and do they have the nades? Will TT Project have the resources to stand strong in that position and defend it successfully to claim a chicken dinner? Well, not too sure. We'll have to check out their inventory very soon, as Ked will be the next to fall. Motion getting absolutely wrecked upon that transition. Matek, though, the nade getting cooked up, gets some decent damage, but it's just not meant to be, and that's going to be game over. Motion out, not able to breach the top 5. That's some decent points headed the way of KZ Esports.
No, I'm not seeing much motion from them anymore, Max, as they get finished off. And this fight looks like it's edging closer and closer with Aurora. Eyes lighting up, looking for any opportunities to snatch away points in a circle like this and see if they can cook on it. KZ tucked in with a little bit of cover as well. That's Moxie's POV here, close towards Doc. Doc doing classic Doc things as he's sprinting around, looking for any chance to unload his magazine. Reefus gets the read in the back line with Goat Team that have been peeking towards the rooftop. If you stick your head out, there's a chance this man might just peel it straight back. Got the 3x on the AUG. Ooh, a little bit exposed towards the rear side, but doesn't give a damn. Confident that he'll be okay.
Really good use of the cover flares, actually, from Aurora. Really just negating the off-angle of Goat Team. And if they're able to actually get rid of Goat Team entirely, they can start to flex out even more. But the thing is, Ziol, I guess he's slightly over-peaked. He does get picked off. But because of the cover flares, it will be a resible entity. You might want to get away from, you might want to get away from that buggy. That starting to smoke is going to get a little bit too dangerous. And we did see swiftly in the elimination feed, Top get an opening knock onto KZ. Thing is, because they do lose Ziol for a little bit there, they have to slow down the push. They can't overcommit as they do not have everyone in a healthy condition. But the circle shifts once again. 3 teams still in zone. KZ Esports, TT Project, and Aurora. But still uncertain as to who will be the ones to stand strong and claim this chicken dinner here is still up in the air.
Yeah, it's no one's guaranteed game yet. Ooh, Top, though, ooh, wants to make it a whole lot easier for the squad, as he will punish onto one. Ziol with a follow-up back over. That's Zerich taking hefty blows. So for TT, it's suddenly gone so much worse for wear. They were hoping they'd be able to coast into a better position. Of course, you know, like you said, they were set up very early into this one, but hadn't really been tested. As soon as the actual might comes their way, they cannot withstand it. So down to just a solo to try and snake through. Might not be the dream scenario. It's only really Ephes you've got left that's tucked in on the top side. Aurora now has space to make a move. Reefus on the peak towards the ridge. They spot the head there. I mean, they're going to just unload a couple bullets back. You got vehicles for the reposition, so they're okay to move on it. They're looking very antsy, though.
Oh, sprays. Yeah, I still feel like TT Project. I already mentioned and highlighted how they are a respectful team in this lobby, not overtaking any fights that's just not necessary to commit to. But here, I feel like they got way too passive and they just got fully surrounded and overwhelmed in this hilltop compound. Hazy, though, going to be spotted in the smoke. The Molotov. Oh, he can't even make it inside the building. Really good proactive molly from Aurora. As now they got the entire northern edge of this ridge. This is looking like an Aurora game unless a massive throw happens. They've got the angles, they've got the fighting capabilities to back up the play, and they do get themselves their 15th elimination here. This is Aurora, Jackie, coming out of nowhere. We criticized them once, and they're like, we mean business. And here they could be looking for at least a 25 point on Rondo, and they're still looking to claim even more souls in this game.
Yeah, they want to show up and massively perform on this one, it seems then. Like you said, Max, it's that classic curse. As soon as you start to count them out, that's when they rise to supremacy. And right now, it's Zol that's hitting heavy again as he'll punish for another pickup play in this battleground. GOAT team and TT with limited firepower as scrap that. TT, all they're going to be doing is dropping the TT emote as they're crying on this one. They lose their last man in Ephes, and it all goes down to the head-to-head of the duo of the GOAT squad. It's focus and force. They can be lethal at time, but can they work together to actually get anything out of this last bout versus the full firepower of Aurora? It doesn't look likely. Only force remains. Aurora should be bargaining for a chicken dinner that's almost guaranteed fully now.
Maybe going for the res on your teammate and running in the blue zone would have been the better option, but Aurora won't let that happen. It's going to be Doc on the front line with the S12K looking to get the final play of GOAT team, and it will finally be an Aurora chicken dinner in the knockout stage in absolute banging fashion on good old Rondo.
They get it done. Aurora arrives as the skyline changes with the Borealis lighting things up. Huge maneuvers there for the Mongolian side. All right, mate, that's a whole different kettle of fish. They go from floundering, from us questioning where they are, where their heads are at, to getting not only the chicken dinner, but also a 19-point earner elimination game off the back of that. Great result.
Champions are like, we didn't get rid of them? I thought we eliminated the entire squad early in the game, but they did have the recalls, right, working out in their favor. So strong performance from Aurora. And yeah, I said, the moment we start talking smack about this team, they just take it very personally and they just start to actually play some S+ tier PUBG Mobile. And really, after their first fights where they got eliminated by Champions, the way they start utilizing their 2-2 split and then taking control of the northern ridgeline was just IGLing to its absolute peak, right, from Doc in this case. And it really seemed like the communication was just way stronger, and this team was trying to actually bring some top-tier action on the battlegrounds. We have some quick replays of this moment. But yeah, even the shots they were taking, right, it's just not overcommitting, not taking too many unnecessary risks. This is the Aurora I was expecting. It took a while to get there, but we finally got them here on this match.
No, exactly. Yeah, a slow burn, but one that still delivers when it arrives, which at least is what we can ask for from them. We just wanted to see Aurora getting into a position where still showing us what sort of firepower this team has, because we know how damn good they can be, and Doc brought that out in quick succession on this one. Nearly 1k damage in the back pocket for him, 7 elims, 5 knocks as well, and the rest of the side helping out massively as well. Top popping up, he was crisp from distance, mate, even closer to hitting that 1k damage mark with the 5 elims there. So you think about the amount of assists this guy's being able to provide to the team. Big stuff.
Zyol for me has been the unsung hero of this game. Maybe not in terms of eliminations, even though the elimination count is very high for all of the members of Aurora Gaming, but it's more as he was trying to get some initial angles and positions held down by himself to actually kind of set up the rest of his squad, especially Doc, that because of those angles and those really good setups, he would be able to flex out massively in these games and actually get 7 eliminations. So Zyol, macro-wise, positionally speaking, was very important to the success of this team. And as we look at the overall match summary with the stats of this game, able to get himself 17 headshots. Actually, a ton of headshots happening here. Maybe most of them coming out from TT Project with that central position on the hilltop. But of course, are we surprised? Personally, not really. It's Doc will be your match 9 MVP on Rondo. And yeah, in absolute banging fashion for this player.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful stuff from Doc. Just really giving it the business, mate. Playing that sort of classic Doc PUBG Mobile that we've come to know and love over the years. And again, delivering it with a level of lethality that the lobby just couldn't keep up with on that one. Made Rondo look rambunctious, which is the dream position to be in. So beautiful signs there from him. And like you say, the entire squad playing good on that one. You can see that represented here again, of course, with his teammate being in close succession there at the top players overall of the lobby in match 9, as Top will join Doc in the runnings. Zerich, Unfeeling, and also Ephes as well on display there from the rest of our squad. So TT still having a good show of things, just not quite having the full control of the lobby in the most important moments of that game.
Yeah, no, able to actually get himself some really good numbers around the board for the top players. So I was looking at the rotation of groups right now. I was really paying attention. I was like, who's not going to be playing this next game? I'm just getting a little bit too ahead of myself. But no, it's going to be a little bit of an interesting map rotation for the groups heading into the last game of the day on Erangel. But looking at the match rankings then, yep, it's going to be a massive 29 points coming out from this team. Actually, 11 knocks, able to snatch away and steal a few limbs here and there. It seems a really good presence again from Aurora as TT Project up to 14, 12. It always kind of plateaus off. But the second half, actually, you know what? Again, highlight for Amix actually showing some presence. Sure, it's a bit low when you compare it to the big performance of this game, right? But 7 eliminations, well, 7.6 eliminations in this game. Amix, it might be still a bit late to actually breach in the top 4, but this is making me at least more hopeful, Jackie, for what they could achieve going into the survival stage.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I mean, look, it's one of those where I think we're seeing good signs of life from some of our teams that needed to bubble back up, right? And if this is where Aurora find their footing and prove that, that's brilliant. But for some of the other squads that are a little bit lower down, I don't know how long it's really going to take for them to fully arise. Hammocks are looking like they are getting a little bit better as things have gone on, but nothing classic in terms to the big maneuvers that we were getting out of them previously in the Club Open. So a bit of a shame there, but let's have a look at the overall rankings and digest this one a little bit. We can see TT have moved up into 3rd place and Aurora now in a nice firm position in the top 4 with 9 points of difference between them and the newly crowned 5th place team in GOAT team, pushing Dagestan 77 very far down considering the position they were in previously. So for DG down to 6th place now.
I'm sure Dagestan's not going to be too happy about that. They haven't played for the last 3 games now. So but they're coming back for the last game, actually. So they're going to be on their angle, hopefully trying to climb their way back up into top 4, which actually with that point gap is going to be no doable. But you're going to have to make it at least to a top 5, top 3 finish if you do want to try and overtake the likes of Aurora, TT Project, etc., in this game. Going a little bit lower. Teams that has still been a little bit silent today, I would say, would be SSC, the team that's been so emphasizing third parties right on day 1 of Knockout, and here just not able to really pull all the stops on these games today. So this is a team that's definitely slowed down significantly. And on the second page, yeah, you know what I'm gonna say, Jackie, if you're on the second page at this point in time, top 4 seems nigh impossible at this stage. So start thinking ahead, start thinking of improving your gameplay and your strategies for the survival stage, because top 4 just seems so far out of reach.
Yeah, you'd have to do something absolutely miraculous. Like, you'd need literally the most flawless win streak, right? Where it's just such a marginal chance that it can really start to come through. So yeah, buddy, does feel like that's the way it's going with that point vacuum towards the top end, really reaching an all-time high now for some of our sides. It will give them a moment of confidence, though. Still, for what it is, good to see at least that return to form for Aurora there. Is actually breaking into that top 4 almost felt like it wasn't going to be a possibility. You know, they were looking really sort of green around the gills, Max, but great to at least see a bit more energy out of them today.
They really hate criticism. I feel like the moment you doubt them, they're like, no, okay, we're going to climb back up. And that's just typical previously APG, now Aurora Gaming fashion, right? You're always going to see them come back eventually. Never doubt Aurora for too long. You can doubt them at the start, but not for too long. That's when they're going to start to climb back up the rankings, and they're doing exactly that. And the thing is, a lot of the mistakes they did early game, they can afford because you got the recall tower. I want to see it happen on the Durango and the Miramar where you don't have that recall system, right? To see if they can actually have an entire game where very little mistakes are happening for this squad.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. At some point, we'll get a consistent test out of them, maybe in the days yet to come. But we have one game left to go, so join us for that when we return after the break.
Start the war!
Now then, we're back in the building, ready for our last game of the day here for day 2 of Knockout as the intense action continues. Max, very different sort of flow of things today. Some of the teams towards the bottom end now rising towards our upper echelons. That top 4 becoming defined possibly for our sort of top 2 teams and maybe a little bit of wiggle room. Bottom end of the standings looking like it might be all said and done already though, mate. So our storylines culminating quite early here into Knockout.
Yeah, I mean, after every game, it feels like the amount of teams that can realistically compete for a slot in the top 4 is just getting slimmer and slimmer as time goes by. So right now, it's just going to get really down to just single-digit amount of teams to really be in a position where they can realistically compete for those grand finals positions. Though we still have some rondos that will be remaining tomorrow, right? So we're going to see if they can get some inflated points. But for right now, it is going to be the grassy pastures. It's Erangel. And quick piece of info is going to be groups A, B, D, and E, meaning group C is now going to be out for the count. That's going to be Afterlife, Arcred, Motion, and 27 Plus. And teams that will be now rejoining us on this game are going to be Destined to Rise, DG77, Avalanche, and Metacore. And here, I mean, Jackie, I think a lot of the focus is going to be around DG77 that's been now overtaken by multiple teams. They don't want to let that happen. They can't allow this disrespect to run free in this lobby. So they need to now climb their way back up at the top.
Yeah, they've got to rise. Like Batman or Bane, maybe, possibly. One of the two.
What were you going to say about Destined to Rise? But yeah, you went with it.
No, mate, not the team. Honestly, I'm not going to lie to you, Max. I don't think they'll be rising that much.
I agree. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's kind of true.
Yeah, I think that's kind of just how that is, unfortunately. But hey ho, let's get into it and see how our last matchup of day 2 is going to go. Will there be any twists in the narrative? Anything that's going to perk our intrigue, get us nice and excited before we round out another day of things here at the EECA finals for PUBG Mobile. We're into our drops though. Oh, all right. Well, I tell you what, at least there is a body of water between both Champions and Aurora, which does mean they won't instantly scrap one another.
Let's wait. let's give it a minute. Let's give it a minute. We'll see if Champions have no, they smell blood in the water. Just want to send it on good old Aurora. I don't know. It's just been happening the entire day. I feel like actually we haven't had a single game where they haven't fought each other so far today. It's been really weird. I feel like the only way you could really stop that fight from happening is when their group is not playing. Which actually, because they're in the same group, they would both actually not fight each other, right? They're both in Group A. You got Champions, TGM, Aurora, and Mad Esports. So, yeah, I don't know. It's an odd one. They just really love each other that much. They just want to keep fighting themselves in these games. Though, looking at the map, hot drop-wise, we do have a little bit of a clash east of Gatkit. It seems it's going to be Ozorox and Metacore. Our last place team, Metacore. At least just got to try and train at that point. Good nade, actually, from Melaz. From that Harry Potter tower, able to hit it right on the money. Ozorox now looking to just converge around this building, maybe just clean up shop and get 2 points to kick off this Orangle match. Wouldn't be too shabby indeed. Also a good piece of util. He's going to be in a different room. You've got to be careful though. You've got to push it as a squad. He pushes downstairs. Oh, that's going to be punished by a good spray on the util from blue. As now Metacore, the cavalry is here, Jackie. They're looking to assist their teammate and overtake the fight versus Ozorox.
Yeah, I mean, they're a little bit weak in some areas, though, and it's quite a wide buff on it. Lucky to even tuck in towards the backside of the building there with how low he was inside of the vehicle. Blue with a drop out through the window. All right, that's kind of working. He's cooking at least for one, as Tiger will be overwhelmed. And Grills as well gets hit back heavy. Oh, you thought the angle was slick, but no, the hero. Man dives around the corner with that SMG and slaps you upside the head on a disgustingly tight angle. This is a real stalemate of a fight between both teams, Max. Unless Ozorox can clean up now towards the tail end. Couple killing blows could leave them in a really horrific position. Good read towards the window at least. You've got them tagged. Just finish them off. There we go.
It was a bit unfortunate for, I don't remember who it was on Ozorox that got knocked as he was scoping in with the AKM, with the iron sight. The thing is, the player was up against peaked in such a way that it was actually below the iron sights. It actually kind of denied him vision because of it. I don't think it was intentional. It's just, unfortunately, he had his scope just slightly too high, and he wasn't able to see when the peak was happening in front of him. So, yeah, just something to keep in mind, that iron sights can be good, but you always want to try to aim a little bit lower because it does kind of reduce your field of view. Ozorox, luckily enough, not going to be losing anyone at the start of this game, and really they can't afford to do so. If they want to just even keep a slight slimmer of hope that they will be able to make it top 4, they need to have banger after banger after banger, which they can't afford to lose players, so good on them this time around. But outside of that hot drop, realistically, nothing else is happening across the board on good old Orangle, so it seems like we'll be going for a pretty passive start after that early skirmish, the early clash between those two. And actually, we did see Circle 1 for a little bit. It is still incorporating a decent portion of military islands. I'm not saying it's going to be very likely it heads down there, but just keep an eye out on for it. I think teams like Aurora, in particular, don't have to rush making the crossover. They can just delay it a little bit. If you never know if the circle keeps you in zone for a little bit, you can just relax down there, have a cheeky vacation. No one's on military island as of right now, too, so they can really have an easy time to just survive the early stages, don't have to clash. And especially because there's no recall towers that they love on Rondo, you don't want to take unnecessary phase 1, phase 2 fights. I would just say, yeah, no need to move. They should be fine. Teams in the center, 777, DG77, D2R, KZ Esports, also looking very relaxed at the start of this match. This is some good, typical Orangle start that we love. Oh, okay, no, they're making a crossover. I was really theorizing they don't need to make the cross here, but they're just like, send it, why not? But there are teams up north of them, so they've just got to be now a little bit more cautious as they claim this position as their own.
Set up base, set up shop, make an Etsy shop, make chicken dinners, make money. That's the way it works, Max. It's that easy. It's that simple. That's what they don't want you to know about.
What would you put on your Etsy shop? What would you provide?
I don't know, man. I'd probably, if I had the skills for it, I'd like crochet. I think I'd get into crocheting.
Ooh.
I'd make some nice little, yeah, maybe like, you know, desktop animals. Yeah, you know how like at events people sometimes have like little talismans or like, I don't know what you'd call them, but you know, you have like a little mascot, maybe
trinkets,
like
yeah.
people whip out like, yeah. Or it'd be like a bear or like, you know, an animal of some description. It tends to be, right, that they'll have on their desk or near the monitor maybe. Yeah, I think I'd make stuff like that specifically like for gamers. So you'd bait them in, you'd make all the money that way. Where if they go to an esports event, they want a little mascot, I'd have the monopoly on that. I'd call them crochet Scots.
Crochet Scots. I mean, actually, you've got so many orgs, I feel like, nowadays that have a little mascot, right? So you could just actually make it for esport teams, too. You've got your Wolves, you've got, which one you got? Also, Weibo. They've got, like, the little panda that's there to represent their team.
True.
Got quite a few options. Not a bad choice.
I
feel
think
like
it could be good.
You would be successful, yeah. I'm ready to invest.
Yeah.
We're on Shark Tank right now.
Yeah, okay. let's we'll set it up. We'll get this going. Let us know, viewers at home, if you're interested in your own. What did we call them? I've forgotten the name of the brand already. Mash Grots. What did we?
Crochet
Christ,
Scots.
Crochet Scots. There we go.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
that's our company. That's our. Oh God, we've really fumbled the pitch, Max. The Sharks are leaving.
Oh no, I'm out. They're not good.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be investing in the crochet idea. What a nightmare.
Yeah.
Well, we're nearly millionaires. For a second there, Max, we were inches away from being millionaires.
We had them.
You know,
in the
you
palm
win
of our
some, you
hands.
lose some.
Yeah. So close,
Yeah.
yet so far.
Well, that's the thing. They're quite small, the crocheted animals, so you could fit them in the palm of your hand.
Yeah, I think Metacore, as they got eliminated, they already locked down the domain name. They just secured it. They locked down the www.com, the website. We're done. We're doomed.
Oh, mate. We've been bested by the Sharks and in the .com rush by Metacore. I mean, what the hell? Where's it all gone wrong?
They got us good. Oh, look, okay, we start going off topic and two teams get really close to each other. Guess what? It's Aurora and Champion. Again, just slowly taking up some of the real estate of their enemies. Demo, I think, got a little bit too close. He is going to be respectfully disengaging that area as actually Vicious all clashing with Ozorox. Though this is going to be Ozorox taking a real casualty this game, not going to be able to reset to a full squad. Vicious, though, got to be careful as Ozorox also fighting Amix here. They're just so spread across the battlegrounds and just had no opportunity to fight back whatsoever. Sure, they do have 5 Williams, but now losing half of their forces. Things not looking too good for Melaz and company. As Amix, no, small win, but did lose spikes. I would say in the grand scheme of things, not really worth it. As they will be looking to make their way into the circle that is heavily, by the way, focused around the southern cliffside of Milta. So a lot of teams going to have to be quick to rotate because entering the circle later on is going to be a very, very tough task at hand.
Okay, well, how do GOAT team contend with this engagement? Up close and personal, elevation to play with, nades towards the windows. See if you can bounce those right on target. This is our, ironically, Moxie versus Moxie matchup with these two squads. It's only happened one other time. Very rare you see the Moxie facing off against themselves, but let's see if it does pay off for either one of these two teams. That one could be nice. Nade in the top floor, bounces over. Just shallow of actually getting a big bit of damage off from that. Moxie's on the move to the other side building, sets up with a bit of a distance angle. Ooh, Force. He wants to try and breach in, spamming a few shots in towards the smoke. Dive for the window. It's a good mantle. He's up. He's got timing for it as well to get further into a position, but does need to tank himself back up on the old HP. Focus spams through the smoke, and you lose one man. So at least the herd there for KZ getting a little bit more fragmented. Nade prime for Focus as well on the drop down. Dashes it off the window sill. No connection onto them yet.
Ooh, a bit risky. They've got to say, these players know this building like the back of their hand. Even though they have smokes, they know where the doors are, the windows are, the stairs are. They know it so damn well. So even with the smokes, they can just make their way forward and maneuver their way in. As now going to be making their way onto the sole survivor here. It's going to be KZ Esports down to 1 in that particular spot. But it's going to have also, look at that in the distance, it's going to be Motion, I believe. I know it's going to be Mad Esports. When I say Mad Esports looking to push up and actually third party this one. KZ do get eliminated. And yet, Mad surrounding it. Though, keep in mind, the GOAT did not lose a single member. So they're fully ready to take this fight. And also do have access to the death crates of their opposition. So in terms of resources, they should be looking relatively healthy. But Absolute, look at that on the minimap. He's got such a significant off angle. If GOAT could, I would say disengaging wouldn't be too bad. They're losing so much scouting opportunities, getting intel on where teams are located on this circle. And I think Mad Esport might just have a similar idea as they start to move away with their cars. And GOAT team taking a few shots here and there just to demand more respect in this game. But yet, it seems like the two teams are going to have a little firm handshake and just say, yep, it's not worth it. Let's disengage. Absolutely still trying to make a bit of a statement here as he takes those shots. But it is not going to result in any significant damage dealt to their opposition.
Okay, he's destined to rise. Heard the pre-game conversation. Not the one about crocheting, more the one about them rising. And they're going to see if they can actually find any sort of momentum into this one. Bit of a back-and-forth fight between them and Avalanche right now. We have two knocked players in Tommy and Butcher, but Molodoy's still standing. And at times, he is the pumped player on this team. Like, this guy, you kind of wind him up and then send him in, and he will just absolutely unleash. With the backup of his duo, he makes good work to make it incredibly uncomfortable, but now left all on his shoulders. It's a head-to-head 1v1. Can he actually close it and keep Avalanche alive? They could reset as well. The actual timers on their HP bars, it's far bigger to play with, but Force's eyes light up. He sees so many potential points just on the coastline.
I can't believe my eyes. This is Molodoy actually using his grenades, unlike Rondo on game one. He's actually using his utility. How impressive.
Oh, don't do him like that. Don't do him like that.
I mean,
he doesn't want to remember.
You know, the Arcred loved the fact he didn't use any of those nades, but at this point he didn't get any knocks off the back of those really later nades in this fight, but still it's good to try and use it to create a bit of an advantage versus D2R. Keep in mind this position not in circle, and I see on the minimap actually right now, GOAT team are kind of encroaching on this terrain, pushing over to the west. They might want to try and just nip this one at the bud, make sure they can actually get a decent entry point without any teams pushing behind them. That's going to be some good nade usage. D2R, they are indeed destined to rise in this game, able to find themselves so many more points, up to 3 in total this fight. But you can see on the minimap here, Jackie, it's going to be GOAT team. They're just surrounding the entirety of this coastal line. I think here there's no escape for D2R.
No, probably not. Ironically, if they do rise their heads, they will probably be eliminated at this point. So they need to just try and tuck in and hope that it's an uncomfortable fight for GOAT where they don't fully ever commit into it, and then maybe you can try and exchange blows. But it does not look good. You'd imagine GOAT would be able to clean up on that one with a mop and bucket if they do go in full aggro. We get the PV of Star Soldiers X Epic here. This is the SSE team that are currently being bombarded by Mad. Nades through the top floor, nades through the windows, shotgun buckshot to your lips. Yeah, this should basically be over for Corp before it even starts. Maybe one could be good for one on the off angle? No. Okay. Tekkenov wants nothing to do with that.
He didn't even have a chance to reply to that push. He's just like, yeah, no, it's done. Didn't have time to even turn to the left and get that elimination with the shotgun. But nope, that is not meant to be. Looking at the circle, by the way, we didn't talk about it for the last 2 phases. It is heavily centered around Milta, the urban area of Milta in particular. So city finishing bound, possibly, probably could be happening very, very soon. Actually, one position that's really fun on this game is we got a wide 2-1-1 split of champions. So the west near farm area, actually. So they're really trying to get as much insight and also claim real estate in this circle. So I think champions, we should pay attention. Actually, as I say, that one player does get knocked in demo. But they should get a quick reset. Hopefully, Mad Esports won't fully commit to the fight and will be a bit more, slightly slower on the approach. As here, GOAT team, they're also going to start to think about what their entry point plan is going to be, because the East is successfully defended so far by DG77. So whoever's not in the zone, they'll have to try and actually wrestle that position away from other teams, such as Mad having to fight Champions. Champions do have the hovercraft. He does make it slightly further away, but again, it's going to be smoking. It's going to be burning up, exploding soon enough. An Atomic here. How is he still alive? I have no idea, but he will fall eventually. And as I say that, it will be with the UMP of Absolute to claim him. Put him down on his knees in submission. Champions now down to just a trio. It's Kino, Demo, and Fearless.
That's still a pretty powerful collective of players for the Champions team. definitely don't count them out. Force on the moves. He's trying to keep himself alive as he drives further down, but it's not 777 that you needed to worry about. It's Aurora further ahead that look to steal points on this. They are crashing right onto them. The beach is getting busy, but it's not the sort of party you want to be at with players being popped max, not bottles right now. As the damage is coming through onto Goat, Focus will fall. Ayato, the last man to go down, and they are out of the runnings on this one. Removed from the split hit of 777 and Aurora.
I really like that 777 were trying to aim for the wheels of some of those incoming cars of Goat Team, because he just, as you saw in that case, one of the players, the car spins completely out of control, and it's just easy pickings to get that point for yourself. So yeah, really good defense from 777. Though now the next team that will have to push from the east will be DG77. M79 used up. It's going to be the smoke grenade launcher from Reefus. As they have, actually, this southern ridge line from Aurora on the beach is just really strong for them. Not only just them, but also for 777. So these are two teams who could have a really good sweeping motion moving from the south towards the center of the city. So keep an eye out on their elimination feed. They could be looking really strong this match. As TGM, a team that, you know what, we haven't seen too many big dominating performances from this team. Still 50 points, so not too shabby. They're still able to get some points on board. We haven't seen them be very, very confident in some of these games. Maybe this will be the one, though. In a city finish like this, anyone can really come out on top and get that win. As Mad Esports, after able to actually kind of bully away all of Champions, they've been able to make it in the circle, but Jack, you're looking at their spot. Chances are the circle's not going to be too favorable to them. And sending it down the hills into the fields of Milta, when you have so many teams looking your direction, I think Mad Esports are going to have their work cut out for them.
Hey, look, they're no strangers to awkward uphill battles in games like this, but you are spot on in the sense it's not going to get any easier. Zone centers up further down as well, so yeah, they really got to get a move on now as well if they do want to actually find cover, with a lot of the available actual compounds being completely inhabited at this point. So Mad do jump behind the steering wheels and begin their mission to rotate in towards Milta and see if they can set up, with Fearless and Kino playing a bit of a split off of one another. Kino looking for a little bit of a scout on the ridge, see if he can get a read on this one. And then you've also got the one man, the only representative that remains alive from the Vicious in Koa, who right now is just chilling. Tucked himself in, tail between his legs, just going to try and sit pretty and hope maybe he can snake this one out to a later finish. Did they spot Kino? I'm seeing a lot of movement right round his position right now from Mad. I think they caught whiff of him. It looks like they're going to try and crash down on the Champions.
I mean, they know this is Champions. They've already got some eliminations on them earlier, so they know they can use that Mad advantage to its full potential. And because of that, Champions actually kind of trying to leave this area entirely. So good, respectful play from Champions. Unfortunately, that does not work out for Fearless as he gets picked off by Koa, the solo that you said. He was chilling over to the west. He does find one free point, and now it's going to be down to a 1v1. Kino versus Koa. Champions versus Vicious. But I think that now they might just have also a situation where they decide to coexist. It's not worth fighting. Let's just try and hold down this position as a duo and zone teams away. As Mad, though, I got to say, got a really good also sweeping motion to the west. They've been able to clear so much. And when you look at this circle in particular, even in the minimap, we're so late in this game, the minimap pretty much explains the entirety of this game and what's about to unfold. All the teams almost are located in Milta City itself. And you've got only a few stragglers and a full team to the west, which is going to be Mad Esports. If the circle is not terrible and forcing a fight in the city itself, Mad Esports could be looking to get possibly a low elimination game, but still a chicken dinner nonetheless.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, the fact they were able to scare off the Champions did at least give them that extra lifeline. Just depends on their next move if they can get caught at DG77 as well. Or what remains now, potentially, as they do play medic to try and reset themselves. Finding one tap in the dark there. Top is really gunning for an opportunity. You can see him kind of just tracing around, eyes darting all over the screen of the cellular device, seeing if he can spot someone out to try and punish, but No opportunity just yet for him to rip someone's head off with his preferred weapon.
You know, Top loves playing with the Mini 14. I would actually advocate for him to maybe try and find a shotgun, because we are heading towards a city finish, especially phase 6, depending on where it goes. If it goes to the east or even just center, I think swapping that Mini for any kind of CQC weapon would be maybe a little bit of a better scenario. Circle does go actually slightly more to the southern western edge of this fight. So actually keeping that, you know what? Because of this circle, maybe worth holding on to it a little bit longer, because that means they now have access to the beach ridges down south of Koa and Kino. So actually that could be really good if you want to take some shots of any stragglers looking to exit the city, or even Mad Esports. So I want to see actually Aurora kind of leave this area and actually try and take the more passive approach. But the thing is, I said two things that kind of conflict in here, Jackie. I said Aurora and playing passive, which doesn't really work in a sentence. So I think they might just be like, no, we want a 20 elimination game, and they might just full send it.
Yeah, that's probably the more likely choice, even if that's the one that most teams would avoid. That's what they like going for. That's the other reason why they're definitely not going to put down that Mini 14, because they can make plays like this. Bad Boy gets blitzed up as the DMR starts to sing the sweet song of Top. And the nades roll in on top of TT as well. Bad Boy will not be recovered from his position as that Mini 14 hard locks him down. Freezer in the meantime falls short towards 777, and TGM get unloaded upon by TT. Koa was spotted, tagged and bagged. Ironically, of course, it's by Doc, so Aurora do start to make their move, and it's one hell of a split. Doc's fighting the world. He's in. He's up against Mad.
He's taking a 1v4. Doc, got to be a little bit careful there. He's on the other side of the road, so he's not like in danger's way just yet. Oh, that's going to be a good pick. Oh, okay, it's from Doc. Of course it is. It's Doc. He's claiming that one with the nade from downtown. Good piece of utility. Making things a little bit easier, actually, for Mad Esports. But do keep in mind, the Mad did take one casualty earlier, down to a trio. And Doc, this is actually a building I was looking at earlier. This is literally one of the highest points in the entirety of this circle. If you can position Top over there with that Mini, that could be really, really impactful. But Doc, again, likes to be slightly away from his teammates every once in a while. Though, the city, TT Project, Ozorox, DG77, 777, all of these teams looking to make a swift exit out of the city. But the teams that currently have a bit of an advantage will be TT and also 777, as they do have more players available. As I say that, 3TN sent to an early grave in this match. It's TT Project, though, thinking about how they're going to make their way across that road. They don't have to do it just yet. If Circle 7 says anything different, it's going to get a bit dodgy, but Reefus also right on the money with that utility.
That's the second time. Hey, dude, crazy thing is as well, there's been like 2 to 3 Elim points that probably should have been Auroras that they just couldn't quite get the flushes on, that TT and a couple other squads have been able to steal away. But they unironically would have even more Elims right now with the amount of knocks they've been finding. Like, they have been just blowing the lobby away.
Oh, the nade.
We say it as a joke, right? But they're just doing it. They're literally living it large right now.
I thought they were going to hit the nade over the roof of that building. A complete blinder of a nade. That is going to be still Effie's then in the elimination feed, able to take himself one great knock onto a member of Ozorox, actually instantly converted, as that was going to be the sole survivor of that team. And Reefus gets another nade on top 6. The utility usage is mental. Reefus refusing to let anyone live in a 50-meter radius of this guy. Circle shifts once again, and guess what? It's headed right towards Mad Esports and Doc. So Aurora, again, they want to play this one more aggressive. They want to get involved. They want to get those eliminations. They need to clean up all of the city of Milta. They've got to focus down onto 777 first. Maybe this straggler, Nomi of DG77, and then focus around TT. But the thing is, you look at TT Project here, Jackie. They see this fight unfolding between 777 and Aurora. They're currently busy. This is a golden opportunity to leapfrog it. So TT Project playing this one beautifully. The IGLing is amazing. The comms are there. And actually, because of that play alone, they might be able to completely backstab the entirety of Aurora Gaming.
But that's when it comes down to the question is the proof in the pudding for them? Will they be able to convert if they get themselves into a position to plunge the knife between the shoulder blades? As Reefus, he has been unleashing havoc on this lobby time and time again. We've seen 4 knocks with the nades, 1 clean-up play with a rifle. Warrior takes the fight straight to the last man from DG and says, have a BG finish on that one. And we get our final 4 teams. The solo of 777, the mad squad that made a mad rotation and keep themselves in the game, and Reefus from Aurora that waves another player goodbye. Oh, mate, he's absolutely running the lobby right now, Max.
Hey, what a performance from Reefus. His nades were absolutely beautiful, and now he's just able to make sure he cleans up the entirety of the east edge of this circle. There's going to be Phase 8 very soon. It's going to be a 50-50 split on the road somewhat, so it's going to be very close between 3 of these teams of TT Project, Mad Esports, and Aurora. Last 3 squads actually remaining at the end of this game. But one team that's looking definitely way safer this current moment in time is going to be Mad Esports, because they're alone to the west of the road. While the 2 other teams, even in a really good circle situation, will have to fight each other directly. And if the timing's right, Mad Esports could be looking to claim a chicken dinner here. We saw what HDSX could do earlier. He got some really good eliminations, converted, I believe, a 7 elimination game, right? So who knows, maybe he can step up and claim this win. As they get a good angle, Bio here with a 3x scope for the M4. But the blue zone is pushing up, and they're going to be taking some big tick damage. They have to push in the open. TT Project are being dealt a really tough hand this match.
Yeah, you got to fight for it. You got to earn it. And when it comes down to the passive plays for a Mad and an Aurora team that is just taking every fight humanly possible, you do not want to be trapped between both of them. You want to take the initiative, so that's got to be the mindset from TT in a matchup like this. Right now, relatively fragmented in the setup they're running with. Absolute up on top of the roof. He's going to get a few bullets straight towards him. Thankfully, doesn't overcommit there. If he would have been slightly more exposed towards the left side, that could have been a free pick for Zerich, who we know has been hitting blinders as well.
I believe Mad Esports did use
with the flank.
Yeah, I believe Mad Esports did use the assist feature to get some players on the roof, which usually sometimes some of them weren't playable in the past. Maybe one of them was, but one of them I believe was unplayable beforehand. So they're just able to get some extra bit of elevation. And again, with TPP in particular, you're getting so much free information without really doing too much. But only 1 nade for HTX. Though I did see the loadouts, actually, Jackie, of some players of Aurora. I think I saw 3 nades in the hands. I believe it was Reefus, probably top. Yeah, look, 4 nades in the hands of Reefus, actually. And he's got M79 to just facilitate that transition. So they're fully stacked. They've got everything needed in their backpack to make sure they can secure this chicken dinner. Now, it's just going to be like, yeah, this is time to start checking those nades in the direction of TT. But that's going to be punished by one of the members. Though he will be able to crawl his way back to safety behind that ridge. So this is them back up to a trio very soon. Unless the nades hits, which it doesn't.
Oh, hang on a minute, mate. That's Doc that gets the angle. He's dropped out of the hard cover that he's been playing behind, tucked into the elevated position in the building, and instead he's opted to come and assist the team. He's realized it looked like they were wavering, they were faltering, and Doc says, I'll deal damage, throws the nade in as his parting play, but Zerich makes sure he can't do any more. Effectors get blown away by it though. Flush back onto Doc, top peaks up, Neos has been overwhelmed, and Chaos is breaking out. They can play medic on this though. Reefus has to be the key piece. He's got to get a nade on this, or they're just going to get right back up and come back into the action. That's what we needed to see. Effect blown away. Goodbye, Neos. Oh, mate, the sideline peak as well, Max. That's Mad with the third party onto Efforts. It's all kicking off.
Come on, Mad Esports, it's time for you to make the cross over the road. They had an opportunity. Everyone was wounded, but they were just a little bit too slow to make the push forward. They're remaining on their side of the road. And I think it's going to be down to just a bit of utility usage, especially smokes to make it in the center of the circle. It is centering up. We're on phase number 9. The blue zone is pushing deeper and deeper, closer and closer around these members of each squad of Mad Esports and Aurora. Indeed, we do say goodbye to TT Project. The blue zone was just a little bit too much to deal with. The nades now inbound, come in the way of Aurora. Not going to find the knock just yet. The second one, ooh, does scare Reefus for a little bit. The smokes are going far and wide. Bio actually getting himself a decent off angle, as they do actually take a lot of damage onto HTSX, but the P90 is doing so much work for Absolute. Down to a solo, it is top. On top of the tower, at the building. He's got Absolute oversight with the AKM, getting one, looking for the flush, making sure he confirms that elimination, making it almost a converted second elimination. But the damage is just not quite there. Top, making the impossible play maybe happen here in a 1v2 scenario.
Trying to get the meds off as quick as he can. The window's there. The zone coming in onto him. Top, if you're going to go for it, it's now or never. He ran the risk, but could not commit to it. So close to getting the knock as they crossed the road, but Mad withstand the full force of an aggressive-looking Aurora squad and do pick that one up in the end. A chicken dinner for them as they close it out. 10 placement points claimed, the 9 elims off the back of the game as well. What a finish to the day here from magnitudes of our squads, Max. That one was intense.